Welcome to Real Talk with LaShondra. This is a series about entrepreneurship, leadership, and success I have learned throughout my journey in the construction industry. I'm LaShondra Mercurius, and I have been working in all of these spaces for over 15 years now. I will be sharing my thoughts and experiences about all the topics and also having conversations with amazing guests who navigate those spaces on a daily basis. Welcome back, everybody, to Real Talk with LaShondra. I am so excited to be here. I have an amazing young lady on my podcast today. Her name is Denise Palma. She's a talented interior designer and runs her own business alongside her husband, Andrew, on top of being super talented and just an all-around awesome gal. I know firsthand because our friendship actually started because I hired her as my designer for my home. And let me tell you, she put her foot in it. It is beautiful, gorgeous. She's amazing. But she's also has a furniture line. She's a mother. I mean, she's just all around kick-ass woman. I really wanted her to be on this podcast, so I stalked her. I asked her if she would spend some time with me. So I'm so thankful that she found time in her busy schedule. So continuing on the topic of last month, remember I told you guys it was going to be a two-parter. So in my first part, I had a guest that ran a business with her husband, but he was in the forefront and she was in the background. So now we're going to flip the script. So Denise is in the forefront in the face of her business, and her husband, who we call Handy Andy, is in the background supporting. So we're going to dive in and talk about some of those dynamics and how it changes and how it feels being a wife and a mother and also being the driver of the family business. So let's jump right in. So Denise, I'm so happy you're here.
I cannot even tell you how excited I am. I've told you, but I'll tell your listeners, this is my first guest appearance as on a podcast, and
a virgin, I popped her cherry.
And I could not be more excited.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. So just relax. We're just going to vibe and we're going to dive in. So we're going to get all up in your business.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I have to know, how did you start your business? How did you and Andy sort of meet? Give me the skimmy.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back a little bit to give you the context of Andy and I.
Okay.
We met back in college when we were 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
Little babies back in Georgia. Story goes, I picked him up. The joke is, if I see something I like, I go for it. So here we are.
Excuse me.
I was an interior design major, and he was in hospitality. So we graduated at the same time. My dream was to move to New York to design. So I did. I moved to New York. I got a job at a design firm down in Soho. So different from being in Georgia, right? I'm this young girl from Georgia, moved to the big city. My boss she made Miranda from Devil Wears Prada look good. I would cry every single day.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And you know what's funny? Today, I feel like I'm channeling a little Devil Wears Prada. I was just saying that to my sound guy over here. So, interesting.
It is interesting.
Yes.
But you're a cool Devil Wears Prada.
All right, I'll take it.
Definitely. So, in New York, doing my interior design thing. Andy and I are still together. He's in the hospitality industry, working for a hotel group out there. And he had an opportunity to move to Boston. So we moved together to Boston. Again, found a design firm. And then once again, he got transferred to Santa Monica.
Okay.
And once we moved to California is where a lot of things changed for me.
So that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So, because it sounds to me like, it almost sounds like a perfect story. Like, you can almost make a movie about your story, you know.
Yeah.
Young, beautiful, buxom blonde from Georgia.
She's too kind.
You know, meets her, you know, handsome, you know, and let me tell you something. Andy. He cute.
He is cute.
He's cute.
I agree. He's cute.
That's
why I picked him up, girl. He is cute.
Yeah, he's cute. He got it going on. I mean, you know, no disrespect, but
None taken. I've got your taste.
No, but you guys are the cutest little couple. So you meet in college.
Yes.
You know, you get together, and it sounds like you guys have a really good match because, you know, you're sort of the creative and he's in hospitality, so he's really sort of in that sort of service side of things, sort of operational.
Exactly.
So it makes a lot of sense why you guys are connecting.
Yes.
Opposite sides of the same coin. So you're living your dream in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Boston.
Yes.
And now you're here in LA.
And now we're here in LA.
Okay. So what changed?
I landed a dream job at a dream firm with an amazing woman, Janine Clark. She's still my mentor to this day. And her philosophy is what we bring to the company as our core values. And her philosophy is collaboration over competition. There's enough pie for all of us.
Right.
So we all can succeed. So it was a very small company. I was the main designer there. Her sister ran the operations and she was the owner. And so I had the chance to wear a lot of hats. And she is one of the main people who gave me the confidence to be able to go out on my own.
So that's so important because I think that when you think about starting a business, a lot of people think that it's one way when it's really another way.
Yes.
And so I always say this, and I say this to my son all the time, you know, because he has aspirations of starting his business, you know, one day. And I said, you know what, before you do that, go work for someone.
Yes.
Go work for a small business so that you can see all of the ins and outs that it takes in order to run a small business, because it's not what you think.
At all.
You know, and I always tell people, when you are running a business, the thing that you love to do is literally, on a good day, like 10%.
If that.
Yes, a 10%
Yes.
of what you actually need to do, because that 90% of, you know, shucking and jiving and negotiating and doing this and doing that and making things happen and, you know, being everywhere, being in 10 different places at once has to happen just for you to create the magic. And so I think a lot of people get shell-shocked when they start a business. They're like, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I have to know about accounting. Wait a minute, I have to know about taxes. Wait a minute, I have to know about compliance. What do you mean I need to know about legalese? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I have to know psychology. What? People bring their drama into my business and I have to cancel them? Wait a minute, huh? Like, it is a lot that you have to think about. So
it is a lot.
So it's interesting that you got to have that experience before starting your own business. So now I want to jump into, how did you start your business? I'm so fascinated with the dynamics of how that came about.
Yeah, so you know, I'm with this firm and we had our first daughter. I decided to take some time off and be a mom. And doing so, I mean, I loved it. It's great, but it's the hardest job I've ever had and the most thankless, right? Like, nobody's thanking you for changing their poopy diaper. So no, nobody does. So it's
Good point.
It was a very hard job, and we had moved to Arizona during that time, and Janine called me and asked me if I wanted to do some work for her. And anytime she would throw me a job here and there, I would do cartwheels around the house. I completely noticed how my mood changed. So I realized I was unfulfilled in a certain part of my life, and I needed to figure out how to balance being a mom and also working and being creative.
Right.
So Andy and I were on the same page with that. He could tell I was much happier when I was working and I had a project. Meanwhile, he is extremely unhappy. He's in the hospitality industry. We have this baby. couple years later, we have another baby. He's still in the hospitality industry. He's working nights, weekends, holidays, missing out on everything.
Wow.
So we're like, okay, this isn't the way life is supposed to be, right? Like, we wanted more time.
Yeah, it sounds, I mean, the way you describe it, it just sounds like it sucks balls.
Yeah.
Like you're not
1,000,000%.
getting to enjoy, having a family, especially when you just you still have that drive in you. It's
Yes.
I mean, being a mother is amazing.
Amazing.
And it's great. Even the poopy diapers or the peeing in your face, which I think both of my sons did that at least a few times.
I don't have boys, so I didn't get to experience that one.
Oh, that's right. You have 4 girls.
4 girls.
Boy,
yes. Yeah.
I feel so bad for Andy. I'm going to go book him a massage. Because he's doing God's work with all that estrogen. Jeez Louises.
Yep.
But there's something about, even as a mom, yes, you kind of take a back seat. But when you're someone that's as fierce as you are and as I am, there's something that just keeps you going. I mean, you just have to fulfill that purpose. So it sounds like that's what I'm hearing.
1,000,000%. Yes. Okay. I needed more fulfillment.
Got it.
So we wanted to try to figure that out, and it was like, I miss designing and creating so much, and he hates his job. Like, this doesn't make sense. Yes, he makes or made more money, right? And we have kids, so we have a couple more kids. Now we have 4 kids at this point. I'm doing some side jobs. He is at a job that he hates, missing out on everything.
Right.
We knew that we needed to make a change. He definitely has more of the entrepreneurial spirit than I do. I'm good.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. From day one, we'd be on runs. He's like trying, coming up with inventions or ideas or things to do. Mm-hmm. And I would humor him. But we both decided, okay, we need to do something. Let's work for ourselves. Right. We knew it could not be in hospitality because he didn't like it and it wasn't conducive for our family. Okay. So I knew design inside and out. I love design. We were all about it should be a product that we sell. I'm sure we all listened to those podcasts, read those books about selling while you're in sleep, making money while you're on vacation. So we thought, hey, let's try it. Let's do it. It's gonna be so easy,
that's
right?
all bullshit.
Yeah. Gonna be so easy. I'm gonna be sleeping, making money. So we decided we were gonna try. We were gonna try for an e-commerce product business. Furniture, luxury goods went hand in hand with interior design.
Makes sense.
And see where it took us.
And
so he stayed in his day job for a while. It was me. He came home. He would help fulfill orders, but I was mainly driving the force. Then we had another life experience. We lost his mother. And then that was just like, okay, this life is too short. What are we doing? The eclectic goods was growing. We were getting busier and busier. I was going to need to hire some people we outsourced a lot, but I needed somebody in the office. I needed somebody for customer service.
So that's interesting. So you outsource. Now this is an interesting topic, and I think it's kind of coming back into the forefront now, especially after COVID.
Yes.
Everyone is sort of, crammed up in their house. Nobody wants to go back to the office. But it sounds to me like you kind of got hip to outsourcing early on in your career or in your business. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, because that's something that's very interesting to me, because even as a small business in my industry, which is staffing and recruiting, we really started to dive into outsourcing, what that looks like. And let me tell you something.
Tell me. I want to hear all of it.
If I had known about outsourcing like freaking 10 years ago, I would probably not have shaved at least 5 years off of my life.
I know.
And so I guess not having that experience early on, I always wonder what could have been. So looking at you and your success, now I get to hear the story of what could have been. So tell me.
However, it was like a lot of things when I first started, kind of a sheer mistake. I didn't have the funds to hire somebody. We funded everything ourselves. We didn't have any rich relative that helped us or any outside investment. So I really couldn't hire a full-time person.
Got it.
Fiverr was kind of big at the time, so I had somebody help me upload SKUs, and then I had somebody help me with marketing, and I didn't have to feel the pressure of hiring an employee, and because I'm trying to feed my family, and to have that pressure that now I need to make sure that their family is fed as well.
Absolutely.
So it really did work out for us, and I couldn't really hire somebody because I'm working out of my house. I've got my 4 kids. I'm doing this between naps and feeding and school, and I don't really think somebody would sign up for that position in that environment.
Well, let me tell you something. You would be surprised, who is out there, and really it's if you're calling something in for yourself, if you're calling the universe and say, hey, I need this, that person will show up.
That is true.
But you weren't ready. So
I was not ready.
I totally get that. But the thing that I'm really loving about your story right now is it's not what people would imagine. I mean, you're all over the place, and I love it.
Oh, yeah.
You're like an organized mess.
Oh, girl, we thrive on chaos. Our family motto is #HotMessExpress. Like, it is, that is it.
I love that, because that's really, the essence, because, and I say this all the time, when you're an entrepreneur and you're in business, you're really just making this shit up as you go along.
Yeah.
You have no clue from day to day what's going to happen. You're literally, because what I found is that, starting a business, I had to know a little bit about everything. So you really don't get to be a master, at anything.
Right.
Even for me, I mean, a lot of my skills have atrophied in what I love to do.
Yes.
Because I have to spend time, doing other things. And I think that people need to understand, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're really going to have to stretch yourself, and you're going to have to go into places that's uncomfortable, that's unknown. It's like literally like walking in the dark.
Oh yeah, it's scary as hell. I'm fearful, and it's hard, and there's good days and bad, and there's ups and downs. It has taught me to celebrate the littlest, tiniest of things, because when they come, you should celebrate them.
Exactly. So I want to go into something that you just said.
Okay.
And I actually did an entire episode on this particular topic. And I think that it's probably the one thing that will make or break a person that is in business. Mm-hmm. And that's fear.
Yes.
Something that you just talked about.
Yes.
So tell me about your fears and what that looked like for you. And then also, I want to know how you moved through it, because you're obviously still here. Yep. You're amazing. You have like a gazillion followers. You have, an amazing brand. You've been doing this for quite some time. How did you work through those fears?
Yeah, so it was one of the most fearful days was when Andy, we said, okay, we're all in. He's going to quit his corporate job. He was there 15 plus years, made a great paycheck. We got it every 2 weeks. We had benefits. We had vacation time.
Yes.
It was stable. We also had 4 kids and a mortgage, right? So yes. It's scary. What got us through is Andy is an amazing, amazing man. Both of us have a really fierce work ethic. So we knew if this doesn't work out.
What was that? what was that? What was that? Work ethic?
Work ethic.
I'm teasing you.
Yep, sure do, girl. So we knew that if, God forbid, this fails, we will be okay.
So what was it that gave you the confidence that you were going to be okay? What was that?
I just felt that we would. We just felt that we would be okay. We're going to try it. And if it doesn't succeed, I could go back into design. He could, God forbid, go back into restaurants. We would be okay. Our family would be okay. We would make the bills still. We could still feed everybody. So let's just try.
Got it. And so when you made that decision, what did it feel like? I mean, I'm going to go a little deep here with you.
Okay, do it.
And I want you to just entertain me, please.
Okay.
When you and Andy made the decision, we're going to do this. We're all in. What did it physically feel like in your body?
I thought I was going to have a heart attack and an anxiety attack and everything all rolled up into one.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's real talk right there.
Yeah.
Because I had a very similar experience when I made the decision. I mean, I was, Jason and I were dating at the time. We weren't even married when we decided to start a business. I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much the sole support of my 2 kids.
Yep.
And had a house, had a mortgage, had a stable corporate job, making very good money.
Yep.
And why blow all that up?
People must have thought you were crazy, right?
Why
are you leaving?
Did think I was crazy,
Yep.
and actually told me to my face,
Really?
"Girl, you crazy."
Yeah. Yep.
Why? What are you doing? I remember the first person that I shared this particular venture with, when I made the decision, it was almost like, you know what? I gotta do it. And I'm willing to accept whatever the consequences are, but I would have felt worse if I didn't go for it. If I did,
regret is real, girl.
exactly,
It is real.
exactly. And so I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna have faith. I'm just gonna do it. And I told this person, what my plans were. And at this point, I had already quit my job.
Gosh.
And ready to jump in. And the shock on their face, and the look of, who do you think you are to think that you can do this? And the person was like, well, what about your back end? Well, do you even know how to run a business? Do you, and just started drilling me. And at the time that I was getting that feedback, I had supreme confidence. I was an accountant by trade. I had a business degree. I had wild success in the industry that I'm opening up a business in. I had a database. I had loyal following. And it was shocking to me that when I expressed, sort of going outside the box, that I got so much backlash. I don't think, other than maybe a handful of people, I don't think I got any positive response.
Really?
At all.
Oh my gosh.
At all.
That's tough, but you took the leap anyway.
Yeah, I took the leap anyway, and I think it turned out okay.
I can say it did. Yep. I think it did.
Yeah, but what I realized is that once I took that leap and I made the decision and I went through all that convulsions in my body and all that kind of stuff.
I'm
gonna die, exactly. And you kind of look down off that cliff and it looks so far down.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you jump, you realize, oh shit, it's only 2 feet.
Right? Or you look back a few years later and it's like, what? Look, it wasn't that hard.
Because you know what's interesting? What's interesting is I feel more security having my own business than I did working for someone.
Really?
Yeah, and that was a big surprise to me.
Yep.
Because I thought to myself, well, I can't fire myself,
Exactly.
And as long as I, continue to do the things that I know, create success, then I'm good. So then I begin to feel empowered.
Yes.
And then that empowerment just became insatiable, and you begin to just navigate, and now you're in it, and then you get to a point where you can't go back. You cannot go back and work for someone.
No, you cannot.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So you took the leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
You did what you had to do. How long have you guys been in business now?
It will be 5 years in May.
Nice.
And he's been with us. I was probably only 3 or 4 months without him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was, when I tell you, I had an interior design degree and an art minor, and I knew nothing about business. I had to Google. I didn't even know what a P&L was.
What?
I had to Google P&L, what ROIs were. Like, I knew nothing about business.
Right. That's so funny. And I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, you're bringing the heat today, because this is what it's like. And now I had a leg up because I have a business degree.
Yes.
I have a degree in finance and accounting and human resources.
Wow.
Right?
You were set up.
Yes. And I was an accountant by trade.
Yes.
I worked as a director in the industry that I'm in staffing. And with all of that, and had a business before this business.
Yeah.
Still didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Girl.
Let me tell you. I can't tell you how many CEO and training classes that I had to take, because what people don't realize is that all of that business knowledge, accounting knowledge, all that stuff goes out of the window when your emotions are attached.
Yes.
Because things that are logical aren't logical anymore.
Definitely.
And then what happens is all your childhood trauma starts to come up, and then you start to realize that you have a bad relationship with money. Then all these other things start to come up and start to show themselves, and you have to deal with it.
Yes.
There's things about fear of success that I didn't even know I had.
Really?
Yes. The imposter syndrome.
Yes. It's real.
Was big time for me, because I had a very difficult time accepting success.
Okay.
Because I was so used to hearing, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And the thing about it is that it's all a lie.
Oh, yeah.
But that program that runs in the background, that was established probably before you even recognized, who you were, you might have been 6, 7 years old, starts to come out. And for me, I'm going to share with you the most difficult thing about being in business was, it was dealing with my 7, 8, 9-year-old self, and dealing with that trauma.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know how to receive success. I didn't know how to receive wealth. And so when you think about being in business, you don't expect that, because you go into business thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to make a lot of money, and it's all going to be great. But what you realize is that everybody has a number.
Yes.
And when you hit that number, now you have to reinvent yourself, because that motivation goes away.
Yep. Then you want more.
That drive. Well, for me, I hit a certain number, and I thought, well, first of all, I thought I'll never get to this number.
Right.
It's going to take forever. Within the first year, I hit that number.
Get it.
And I was like, okay, well, I hit the number.
Yeah.
And then it was still coming, but in a lot of ways, I self-sabotaged.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't comfortable going beyond, thinking bigger, being bigger.
Yes.
It was too scary, because I didn't know what was on the other side of that.
Yeah.
So I played small. Even though, within a year or two, I was running a multi-million-dollar business, I was playing small.
Yes.
So I want to hear from you. What's been your most challenging thing that you've had to deal with in business?
Oh, gosh. There's so many things, girl. I
Well,
mean,
pick one. Pick
day to day. It's challenging working with my spouse.
How so?
Well, we are with each other 24/7, and we have very different work styles. He's a early riser and likes to get things done. I am left side of the brain. I'm more creative. I'm a night owl. I like to stay up and have a glass of wine and do my work. And so in the beginning, when he would check out and go to bed at 8 o'clock and I'm still up for a few hours, I would get angry, like, why isn't he still working with me? Or, maybe some days it's equal, it's very equal, but some days maybe I put in more time than him, or and just, yeah, it's a whole nother level working and raising a family and being together all the time.
Okay, so you just opened Pandora's box.
Yes.
This is the goods.
This is the real talk.
This is the
We're
real
getting
talk.
real.
We're about to get into it. So I want to know, like, how does that work? You know, because I also, work with my spouse. We spend we used to spend 24 hours a day together.
Yeah.
Not so much now, but I would say probably the first 7-8 years we were in business, we were together 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I worked his last nerve.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
And vice versa.
Yes.
So how did you deal with that? And I also, before you answer that,
Yep.
I want you to keep in mind masculine and feminine energy.
Yes. I know.
How do you manage that?
Right. Because you do have to be respectful of how each other functions, right? And how you work. I'm still working on all of it with him. It's still not like some magic recipe that we figured out and now we're doing great. Like, we have our ups and downs and ebbs and flows. Some days.
Well, what's on the forefront right now? So if you could think about maybe one or two things that is challenging right now today.
As working with him?
Yes. Just working as a couple. Like what's the one thing that you're working through right now?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I've got to think about that one. There's just so many things. One of them would be we're trying to set more business hours to have more of a quality of life. He's pretty good at turning it off, and he's coaching the kids right now, and I will work till whatever. But then, like today, I was really upset. I'm like, I don't know, Andy, I just feel like, life is going by too fast and I'm missing out on all of my kids' this is why we started this, to have more freedom to be with our kids, but I'm working all the time. And so one of them is trying to set work hours.
Got it.
And I'm horrible at that.
Right.
And he's like, stop working, but I can't turn it off.
So do you ever feel kind of jelly that he's able to do that and you're not?
Yes. So yes, I am. I am, yes. I'm trying to get better at it. He volunteers up at school. They call him Mr. Mom, right? Because he goes to all the things and does a lot where I could, but I put work first now.
So how does that make you feel? So that's interesting. So they call him Mr. Mom.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's Mr. Mom, then what are you, Mrs. Husband?
Right.
Mrs. Dad?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Like, because, I'll be honest with you. That would kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because, and it would be my own stuff, right? If someone said, oh, your husband is, Mr. Mom. Now, first of all, he would be mortified if anyone ever called him Mr. Mom.
Right.
But for the sake of this conversation, I would instantly feel like, well, that's a knock against me because I'm mom.
Right.
I'm
not there. And maybe is he doing a better job?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So how does that truly make you feel?
Well, yeah, we talk about that a lot. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm happy that my girls have that because he is pretty darn amazing. But I also feel like I'm missing out. And it's just I'm still trying to figure out the balance.
Right. It makes sense. And I guess that's the thing when couples start a business, because when you do that, you're already saying, I'm not going to have a traditional marriage. Right? Because when you're starting a business, it's all about, you get in where you fit in. You handle the things that you're best at, that you're good at. And sometimes those things require a certain energy. Sometimes it requires feminine energy, sometimes it requires masculine energy.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
And so, and the interesting with you is you're a creative. Mm-hmm. So that's very feminine.
Oh, yeah.
Create a creative energy.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're sort of the driver, and I got to do it. I got to get it done. Now that's very masculine.
Yes.
So how do you guys move in between? Because I know it's a struggle for me and my
every day
husband.
is a struggle. It really is. I have to be, because I can be demanding, right? And I can be...
You demanding? Come on now. I would never say that.
Not to my friends. But to my husband, right? I'm like, we got to get what's going on with this. We got to get going. So just being a little more thoughtful with how I ask him. Like, I want it to feel like a partnership and not that I am his boss.
Right. Yes, that's a big one, because I think for my husband and I, we started our business, but everyone knows the way I met him is, I hired him and I was his boss. So a lot of that dynamic did sort of spill into when we started the business.
Yes.
Just because that's just the lanes we were playing. But now, 10 years later, we're very interchangeable.
Yes.
And I think it's important, for him to, assert his leadership and make sure that he has his lane of where he's the boss,
Definitely.
and then I, support him.
Yes.
And there's areas where it's just my thing, and then he's there to support me. But that took 10 years to figure that out. And we wrestled.
Yes.
We wrestled with it, to the point where he was just like, look, I'm sick and tired of you in this masculine energy. You got me over here sitting in this feminine energy. I'm tired. I'm ready to take my place.
Yes.
And be a boss the way that I need to be, which in my mind, he was always that.
Oh, for sure.
He was always that.
Yes.
But being able to cement that, and really show that, not just, when we're home and we're talking, but just how we run our business and everything. So he's, very much the force internally, and externally is where I'm the force. And we don't clash.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So yeah. So it just really takes a lot of subjugating your ego.
Yes.
And allowing yourself to go into places that are uncomfortable. And it's been a wonderful ride, and it sounds like the two of you are knee deep in it. And I love every second of it.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yes. So, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
For sharing.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable. I think that's really amazing. And I have to tell you guys, this woman, if you need someone to design your house and get you some nice bomb furniture, this is the place to go. Just a beautiful spirit. I'm energized.
Oh, I love you.
Whenever you come around. So thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. You are just so much fun. I know my listeners will appreciate you sharing experiences of working with your husband and the struggles of building a successful business together. Like I said last time, it is not always as fun and easy as you would like to think, but after talking to you today, I'm even more convinced in the statement that you can overcome personal obstacles and grow together in that process. Your relationship will keep getting deeper and stronger. And I turned them on to LAFC, guys. They love it. Okay.
Sure did.
That is my jam.
We just bought season tickets to ACFC, the Women's League.
That's right.
Yeah.
Support. See?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you for that.
You got it. So with this episode, this is the end of my first season. So you were the finale.
Yes.
So
congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited because honestly, when I was getting into this, I wasn't completely sure what I was getting myself into, and that is the truth, Ruth. They dragged me in here kicking and screaming. So this was really a fun year, and I appreciate all of you so much for tuning in every month. I will be taking just a few months hiatus to sort of go back in the shop and replan and figure out some new exciting things to talk about for next season, and I will be back next year. So with that said, thank you, Denise. You were wonderful and you're beautiful.
This was amazing.
And everybody be safe and healthy, and I will be back in 2022. It's a wrap. Woo, 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 woo. entrepreneurship, leadership, and success that I have found in the construction industry. If you want to hear more and you want to be a part of our community, follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our newsletter on our LinkedIn profile. If you want to share your thoughts after listening to this episode, feel free to drop a line in our LinkedIn podcast post.